Before I begin this review for Tekken 7, I just want to say I apologize for my phone. In the last review, people were really complaining about that. So for this review, my phones are put to the side. Guys, you have nothing to worry about. So let's get straight into this review for Tekken 7. The story of Tekken 7 is actually quite interesting. It travels through the mysteries of the protagonist and the antagonist of the game. They introduce the grandson as well of these characters. Now, I'm not saying names and stuff because I just don't want to spoil it for you guys. But what I will say is they managed to put Akuma in the story and make him fit up until a certain point, of course, because they don't want to give, Street Fighter or Capcom too much shine. However, they did fit him in, and they managed to not explain too much about why he's there, but just to let you know he's there. If you saw the trailer, then you know why he's there. That's pretty much all you're going to get on that front. However, the story is pretty interesting, and it is very dark. There's a lot of things going on, and roughly it's about 4.5 to 5.5 hours for you to beat the story, and that's if you're taking your time. I should have been able to beat it in about 3.5 to 4 hours, but I was doing different things, and there was a lot of things happening that I was not enjoying about the story, but we'll get into that down the line. Okay, so the story overall is pretty dark and interesting to say the least, and it does explain the feud that's been taking place with the two characters of the game, being the villain and the hero. And it actually takes an interesting turn at the end, but like I said, I won't spoil that. So let's get into the controls of the game. The game has the same controls that it always had. This was a little bit disappointing for me because I'm a person who was able to pick up Tekken and start doing combos, and I haven't played Tekken in a long time, and I was able to get right back on this Tekken with the same characters and perform the same combos, feeling like nothing was changed. Now this is a little bit annoying for somebody like me who's a fighting game enthusiast who enjoys a good fighting game. I feel like there should have been more added. Now, the reason I feel like this is the case is because this game was originally released in March 18th of 2015 in Japan. This game feels like a game that was released years ago, and that's kind of one of the problems with the controls. Now, you have your traditional 4 buttons, you have your punches and your kicks, and everything pretty much centers around that. So you'll be able to do all of the same combos with the same characters that you played in before. Now this is good for people who are fans and just want a new Tekken game, but for somebody like me who wanted to see something new or something that's competing with all of the other games on the market of the same genre, I was a little bit disappointed. Overall though, the controls are what they are for Tekken. They're the same. There's nothing good or bad to say about it. It's just more of the same. Now, is this good or is it bad? It does work for the most part. So, like I said, if you want to pick up a Tekken game and pick up right where you left off, then this is the game for you on the control end. Now, let's talk about the graphics, because there's a couple of things going on here as well. The Xbox One version of the game, there's no information on the resolution. The PS4 version of the game is running at 900p, 60 frames. Now, the Xbox One version is running at 60 frames, but it was not confirmed to be 900p, and I don't have a copy of it for Xbox to check. So I'm just going to have to tell you that the resolution is up in the air. Now, there's some battles for the pro players like me. There is no pro enhancements or patch at the moment, so the game is just running at 900p period on PlayStation at 60 frames. Now, does it perform well? The game performs well, but there are times in the game when you will see little occasional laggy dips, and it kind of affects gameplay. Now, as far as online, the game was unlocked to go online, but I was not able to get any matches. Now, this could be due to the fact that the game is not out yet, but they said that it unlocked for a few people. When I went on there, I wasn't able to get a match at the moment, so I'm waiting for it to release to check out the netcode. So I cannot speak on that as of right now. However, the game has a pretty decent amount of content. The story, now I have to tell you before I move on, is very annoying how they set it up. The story has 3 different types of settings. It has the actual fight that progresses the story. It has the CGI animation to, tell you what's going on, and it has this narrative perspective. The narrative perspective is quite annoying because it pulls you away from the fighting, and I get that they put that in there because that's how the arcade version probably played, and then they put the CGI stuff in there for the people on console, to give us more content and to give us more explosions and things of that nature. But it pulls you out of the game, and it breaks the immersion of the fighting, and it makes it feel like the fighting is just there to keep the story going. And that's a problem for me. So overall, I was slightly disappointed in the way they handled that. Now, Graphically, the game is a little bit disappointing as well because it's only 900p max, and you can see differences in the resolution when they do things like play CGI scenes looking like they're upscaled from 720p, and that gets a little annoying, and I'm a little bit disappointed to see a game looking like this in 2017. So graphically, I'm going to say if you want the best looking game, I would definitely recommend you get this on PC. However, due to the textures of the game, the PC will probably not give you much more benefit past 1080p if you upscale to like 4K or something like that, other than just blowing out the image, unfortunately. So with that being said, graphically, I'm disappointed in this game. The controls are definitely not a disappointment. It depends on when you're looking at it from the perspective of sometimes simple is good. So I won't say the controls are disappointing, but I will say that the graphics are slightly disappointing. Now, they're not terrible, but they're not the best I've seen either. They look dated as far as, you know, today's graphics are concerned. Now, overall, what I'm thinking here is if you're a fan of Tekken, then you should be able to get Tekken 7 and be fine. But if you're somebody who never played a Tekken game, you might want to check this out before you buy it, because somebody like me who's played Tekken games in the past but was not a huge fan, I felt like I was able to pick up the controller and go right back to where I left off, and there was nothing really new added. Now, the game does have 38 characters available to you when you get it, and if you get the day one edition, which most people should be getting that when you buy the game, you'll get a bonus character available to you, and they're saying that there will be DLC characters available later. This version of the game is called the Faded Retribution version, which was released in Japan in 2016, which is a year after it was released the first time in 2015. Now, this version is supposed to be having characters added to it. Now, if that's the case, hey, I mean, maybe the game will get more spicy. What I did notice is them adding Akuma to the game kind of threw the whole Tekken thing on its ass. It made Tekken feel a little bit different as far as seeing a character throwing projectiles kind of throws off what Tekken's about, and it was a little bit weird. Now, they did add some elements to the game for other characters to counteract a character like Akuma, but it just starts making Tekken feel like Street Fighter. And it doesn't feel like Street Fighter, don't get me wrong, but Akuma literally has all the command moves that he had in Street Fighter. So he definitely can become a character that I can see being abused due to the fact that, you know, he has the combos and he has the down, right to do a fireball, a hurricane kick, a shuriken. All of that stuff is there. So it kind of throws off the whole Tekken element that they have them in there like that. But don't worry, guys, it's definitely something that was needed to make the game not feel like just the same old thing. The game is missing things like transitions, better textures, and all of that. So from my personal opinion, this is how I'm going to look at it, because at the time of doing this review, I couldn't make up my mind on whether I could recommend the game. But what I can say is, if you are a fan of Tekken, don't get me wrong, you're fine here. You should be able to get this game and go right back to what you were doing. It is a new installment for you. Fan service is definitely here for you guys. The story is very dark and interesting. They did a lot of things to explain to the people who follow the series what's going on, and to wrap that in a bow and give you a whole new story going forward. So if you are a fan of the series, I think you definitely should check this out. However, if you're somebody that likes fighting games and you never really tried Tekken, I recommend you try this before you buy it, because you may be slightly disappointed due to the fact that the game is already over 2 years old, technically speaking. The game has been out in Japan since 2015, like I said. So at the end of the day, I recommend that if you did not like Tekken before, you check this out before you buy it. And if you're a fan, and I mean somebody that has every Tekken game, go on ahead and get this, man. There's nothing even to talk about here. You shouldn't even be listening to me right now, because they did, you know, the Tekken service well. Everything as far as the Tekken universe is there. Everything you need, you can get right back to what you were doing. So I'm gonna end this here. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'm out of here. Peace.